Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts LUCARIO. This is really just a continuation of the D-Arts Pokemon line. You can see the packaging's almost identical. There are a few minor tweaks to the packaging other than the obvious change of the name from D-Arts to SH Figuarts, but really it's the same vein of figures. Very similar in quality to the Mewtwo that I reviewed in the past. Hopefully I'll be reviewing Charizard and Blastoise soon. I know I'll be reviewing Venusaur because I purchased one of those. Anyway, just like Mewtwo, it's kind of a good figure, and then in some areas it's not so great. Luckily they're not super expensive, so it's not really that big of a deal. Best thing about this figure is one of the accessories, so let's get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands roughly 14.5 centimeters, which makes him just about 5.5 inches. He generally looks pretty good because it's a lot of molded plastic. We don't have a ton of paint. Unfortunately, the parts that are painted could be better. These white spikes on his hands, for instance, it's not translucent, but it's just, there's something about it. There's kind of a low quality to them, so it's a bit of a bummer. However, on the face, we have some pretty decent paint work. They lined everything up pretty nicely, so that's good. The eyes look pretty good, and for the most part, the yellow bits that are painted look all right. He does have painted paw pads, and they are fairly well done. We have no real complaints there, and then we have them on the back. These little bastards never stay on, at least this one on this side. It's loose most of the time, and it pops off as soon as you look at it. Hate that. It's one of the things that's wrong with this figure, but we'll get to that. So generally speaking, he looks pretty good. Lots of the things that are supposed to be sculpted are sculpted, so that's good. We have all this nice edge work between the blues and the grays. It just looks decent overall, so I'm okay with that. Now, let's look at the accessories. You guys like accessories? Let's look at those. We have almost none with this guy. We have one set of interchangeable eyes. So we have the eyes that come on him, standard straight ones, and then this set, which looks off to the side slightly. And then we have, which I guess you can count them as eyes, still closed eyes. So they're just basically the molded gray plastic with a tiny line of black at the bottom. I guess that's useful, but I'd rather have the eyes open, give the character some character. Then we get this. I don't know the actual name of this particular thing, but it is very well done and easily the best part of this figure. The translucent blue plastic is really nice, and then they did shading on each one of these little fins, so it's shaded from dark to light to dark, and it's just so well done. I'm very, very pleased with that. And then lastly, we have our display stand, which looks just like Mewtwo's. Clear Pokeball display stand with an upright piece for the figure and one for the energy attack, so pretty standard stuff there. As far as the figure goes, articulation-wise, again, it's okay. It's a lot like Mewtwo in that it's okay. That's it. These things back here, I guess it's hair. Maybe it's got to be hair. I guess it could just be some kind of growth. It's just a ball peg, and you have to remove them in order to swap out the eyes, which is a horrible, 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 horrible design choice. Not only are you likely to break that little tiny nib of plastic right there, it's just, they're going to end up getting loose. And as you can see, this figure's brand new, and unless you wedge it in there, it ends up falling back to this position. I can't even get it, that position, where it stays in that kind of limbo of being pegged in and not pegged in. So that is not a good situation. But just a ball peg there. The head itself, I don't know. It feels like a ball peg. It doesn't seem to have any hinge in there, so that's about it for the head. And it's fairly loose, again, so don't expect high quality out of this figure. The thing I really like about this figure is it does have a butterfly joint. This gray piece moves around the chest, and it's seamless. You can't tell that it's got articulation. Even from the back, it's just really, really well hidden. So I really like that. That's awesome. We have our ball hinge built into that, so the arms have full range of motion at the shoulder. Bicep swivel underneath that, so no problems there. It's a little stiff, but it works. Double jointed elbow. It really just functions as a single joint, so don't expect too much out of that, but it's not bad. You get 90 degrees. You don't have a wrist rotation at all, but the forearm rotates. Unfortunately, the way they sculpted it, the way it has that scoop in there, once you rotate it, you can't use that hinge very much. It really limits that, so that's a bit of a bummer. I really would have liked a swivel cut into it right here, where they could have done it in that tubular part of the arm. but they didn't do that. We do have a hinge in the wrist, but without the swivel, you're going to still be pretty limited in your posing options. For the upper torso, we have a double ball peg, which has really good range. You do get to see inside a little bit, so there's a little bit of gapping, but as long as you're conscious of that, it won't be a big deal. Lower torso has a single ball peg, so you shouldn't really have any trouble moving his torso around at all. It should work pretty nicely. The hips surprisingly work really well considering how big and bulky they are. They have the drop-down hinge, which you would think isn't going to do that much, but you can bring the legs all the way up, and there's still no real major gapping. You can bring them out to the side a little bit, not a whole lot. It's not ideal for going out to the side, but bringing them forward, it works pretty darn well. And then at the bottom, we have the entire leg that goes into this poofy part. It can move around inside that socket. It's not hugely important, but you get a rotation out of it, and you get extra articulation, so that's pretty good. We have the double jointed knee, which does go backwards, so you can do that. If you really want to, you can bring them straight forward, so that's fine. And then for the ankle, we have our standard ball hinge, which has pretty good range. I'm pretty pleased with that. You can rotate the foot around, give them an ankle rocker, leave it forward, bring it back, no problems at all. And then you saw the hinge down there at the foot. It's pretty hard to get him to stand up on these feet, but you do get the display stand with him, so it's not a big deal. And you can balance him. It's just going to take a little bit of effort. I'm pretty happy with this guy. I think I'm probably going to track him down. It's not a fantastic figure, but it's a nice enough figure to add to your Smash collection, so that's what I'm going to recommend it for. It's a good enough figure. It's not going to make you mad. It's not going to impress you. It's just going to be, yeah, I'm okay with that purchase type of thing. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.